I remember watching this test live in 2019. This is Boca Chica, Texas, where SpaceX had built the initial Starbase complex, the test site for what would become the Starship rocket. And in the early days, over 5 years ago, they were conducting these series of test campaigns of these vehicles that they would build over months, roll out to the launch pad, and there was this group of nerds on the internet who would camp out and live stream not only the launch itself, but the months leading up to it, the build out. They would produce videos weekly talking about the progress that they had seen, because the complex is next to a public road. Anybody can see it, train your cameras on it, and they've been able to monitor the progress the entire time. And we've managed to see this entire test campaign and all its failures in its grandiose way play out before the cameras of these nerds who captured it all. And those nerds themselves have become successful and made a product out of following the campaign. So I got very excited about all of this. It's over 5 years ago now that I watched that original live stream. And I've watched all of the launches, the live streams, the tests, the failures ever since. And there's many times months in between, and it's all culminated down to this now, which is like this magnificent, enormous vehicle that aims to be a fully reusable rocket. So magnificent in its scale and size that people don't even believe it. There's a faction of the internet that still to this day claims that, in the vein of like Arthur C. Clarke said, that any sufficiently advanced technology would be indistinguishable from magic to primitive people. There's these people who still can't believe. They claim it's all CGI and fake. And I one time in the past I became incensed with these people because I'd watched it from the very early stages. Not only the live streams, the months of the build out followed. Been interested, wanted to know the updates week by week on it, and then we watched the 10-hour live streams from them fueling the rocket on the pad to it launching eventually, and then coming down and the failures that would throw debris out and destroy these nerds' equipment, and they'd feel the heat of the explosion on their faces. I found the whole process very inspiring. And I think, in general, Elon Musk's vision, the idea to in the face of what is an enormous expense and an almost impossible challenge, that he's gone ahead and done this, has been an inspiring thing, and it still is to this day. But I'm telling you this because it was through this that I learned about another rocket company called Rocket Lab. It was through watching the nerds' coverage of SpaceX that I found out about another company led by a visionary engineer, founder, CEO called Peter Beck, the CEO at the heart of Rocket Lab. And I fell in love with this company and the story behind it. I thought it was so inspiring. Here's Peter Beck launching his first rocket in the early 90s.
In the tradition of great New Zealand explorers, New Zealand, we are go for space. Arm igniter. Arm oxygen. Aero coupler disconnect.
Confirm.
ISO 2.
Open.
Ignition. 10,
Smoke.
9, 8, oxygen, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Yay, fucking duty! Yes! Yes!
So, if you are one of these people that doubt Elon Musk, that say Elon Musk is a phony, he's a fugazi, he's not really smart as you think he is, Peter Beck is the very opposite. Peter Beck is the real deal.
Pushing the boundaries, right? We're always innovating. And
Never stop.
Well, that we can't. So my two competitors in this industry are Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. So I'm not going to outspend those people. We have to out-innovate them. That's the only way that we can be successful. And that's why we've been successful to date. So, we can't stand still. And this is an industry, it's like the semiconductor industry when it first started. There's so much innovation. The pace of change is so fast. So if you stand still, you just get run over. You have to be on the steamroller, not in front of the steamroller.
So you bought half of Rocket Lab. At the time, did you have people in your ear, like accountants, business mentors, or anything, saying, "Mark, what the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah, you definitely get a bit of that. The reality is, you look at Rocket Lab, what happened there shouldn't actually be technically possible. So really, what Peter Beck and the team have done there has been a bit of an outlier compared to the rest of the world.
In 2007, what was it that you saw in Peter Beck and Rocket Lab that others didn't?
He wasn't just someone that had gone to university and done the kind of minimum engineering course and then said, hey, I've got this idea. He'd lived and breathed it. That passion, you can pick that up in people. I looked after Peter, Peter looked after me, and life goes on.
And we're still early in the story of this company. They are up to something like 20 launches a year, which is no mean feat. It's actually outpacing SpaceX as in their early stage, their cadence of launches that they were able to do when they were at this stage. And for the last 3.5 years, they've been developing, plowing money into building a bigger, better rocket known as a medium use vehicle that will carry 13,000 kilograms into low Earth orbit, and that is itself a partially reusable launch vehicle. And so half or even the main chapter of this company is not even written yet. The test flight is scheduled for potentially December, but it's likely going to overrun, let's be honest. This is a rocket program, and space is hard. This is their latest engine test. So again, I've been following a rocket company through a test campaign, and this time my money's on the line because I'm an investor in Rocket Lab. But it's so amazing to watch the build out of this company and realize that we're in the infancy of a story, another story arc yet to be told. Here's Peter Beck stood in the hungry hippo of the Neutron rocket, the fairings that will open to deliver the payloads into orbit. Like a hungry hippo, it will open out and the satellites will fly out of its mouth. So, I mean, what a time to be alive. Here's your young Peter Beck. What a time to be alive. I'm not even sure what the point of this video is, by the way. I just get nostalgic and I think deeply about the fact that I have $100,000 freaking dollars invested in this company. And I'm not a rich person. To some of you, you might see that statement and think, "Whoa, What do you mean you're not a rich person? You've got $100,000 in one company. I only put $6,000 on the table into this company because I was so excited watching the SpaceX launches, and I learnt about Rocket Lab, and I started following them, and I learnt about Peter Beck, this innovator, engineer, founder, the real deal. If anybody doubts who Elon Musk is, Peter Beck is the real deal. He's the not fake Elon. That I said, yeah. I saw they had a launch in 2023. A rocket blew up, and I thought this is the perfect time. I'm going to put about something between 4,000 and 5,000 English Great British pounds into the shares. And here we are, a couple of years later, they've 16x'd 1,600%. And I'm sat here on $100,000. And I think about it deeply, often, philosophically. I wonder what the hell am I doing? But I have such strong conviction and belief in it that I don't want to sell a single share. I don't want to sell a single one. I had more at one point, right? But the way that eToro works is that the default is to set a stop loss at a 10x. And so there was a day when my shares got to 10x, and all these positions that I had open started automatically closing, and I happened to see it in real time and quickly go and stop the position. So I lost something like 200 shares. Not lost. They ended up being sold and incurring a capital gains event. And that's the main reason why I haven't sold the rest, and I probably won't for 10 years, no matter what happens. And it's probably the only reason why I've allowed them to run up so much and been averse to selling, apart from my conviction, is because, foolishly for me, they're not sat in a tax efficient account. So when I sell them, I have to pay capital gains tax in the UK of 18%. And that constraint, ironically, has worked to allow me to stay in rather than diversifying. If it wasn't for that, I would have felt the pressure of diversification, of wealth preservation, to sell and reallocate into other stocks. But I haven't, because they're locked in this non-tax efficient way. And so, and you don't pay capital gains on an unrealized result. So they're just sat there. They're just sat there. The price has just stopped moving because we've just got to 9 o'clock UK time. So, it's funny that Warren Buffett says that diversification is for fools. And he doesn't mean that in a bad way, that you're a fool to diversify. But what he does mean is that unless you know a company really well and you follow that company and you know it inside out and you believe in it and you have conviction and you take the time to monitor it all the time, then apart from in that case, in which case you are like a fool who doesn't know enough to be investing, then you should invest in an index fund, in a basket of stocks, because that spreads your risk, that diversifies you. And that's what I did with my ISA. I invested in a basket of stocks and I've done pretty well. I've done pretty well. But diversification also kills gains, dude. Because if I'd have just been 100% convicted in Rocket Lab, then I'd have made 16x on everything, and I'd probably be closer to $500,000. But then nobody knows what the future may bring, and there could be some disaster scenario. Who knows? Some kind of space event that causes debris into space and ends rocketry as we know it. Who knows what could happen in the future? It's a risk, and it's a risk of $100,000, and it's all sat in one company. But I have such conviction and belief, and I want to hold this company for the next 10 years and see where it goes, and I'll be inclined to do it all because they're sat in a non-tax efficient account. And I don't know what the point of this video was, but it was to explain to you how I became excited about Rocket Lab, where the origin was, how I became so convinced and convicted in one company as to take a gamble, and that how such a gamble based upon real conviction and knowledge, that it was the sum of knowledge of hundreds of hours of watching a space test campaign and learning about the rocketry from these nerds, these amateur nerds who are following the SpaceX campaign, and therefore branching out and talking about the whole space field and the satellites and space and different rocket companies, and then looking into it, that I gained both the conviction and the balls to put some money into something that I believed in. And today I have the reward. And that's really what investing comes down to. And that's how diversification kills gains, but is a safer play. So you might be able to get 10, 15, even 20, 30% with a diversified range of good stocks, compounding per year. But you'll never get a 1,600% in 2 years. That will only ever happen with a investment into one company, one name that really deserved that investment at the time, and that became that came good in the end. So that's the story that I want to tell. Caveat, I am not telling you this to pump my own bags. I have nothing to sell you. I'm not trying to pump Rocket Lab. I don't suggest that you invest into Rocket Lab at this price, even though the company's in its infancy, even though that, we've yet to see what the, they've not even launched their next rocket yet. And so we have a whole new chapter of Rocket Lab is yet to play out over the next 10 years. I'm not telling you to invest in it right now, because by all other standard metrics, this company is expensive here at $68. So I'm not telling you that. This video is just to tell the story of how I ended up with $100,000 in a company when at the time I was probably only worth $10,000. I was probably only worth $10,000 when I put 6 of it into Rocket Lab. And that's the story. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you.